Listen to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference. If I traded
Welcome to the show, everyone. As all of you know, I made it possible to talk about yourselves. And who doesn't like to talk about yourself right on the radio? That's what we're doing here with you. The people that are talking about what they do. If you want to get yourself heard on Networking Arizona, give me a call at the station at 602-277-5369. We'll get you hooked up with me so you can get yourself heard on Networking Arizona and get the word out about what you do. So I'm going to go right in with my first guest. And yes, we've been talking every day, every Tuesday practically. Oh, no, every day.
Almost every day.
No, every day, every single day this month. And now we've got it happening again. We have Ted Watkins, and he is an enrolled agent. And yes, he's been on, but he comes on a lot for a really good reason. Let's talk a little bit about it. Ted, talk a little bit about yourself and what you do, and welcome back to the show.
Okay, it's great to be back, Carol. Loving this weather out there.
I am too.
It's great. But my name's Ted Watkins, and I have been on quite a bit, but if you haven't heard me, I'm what's called an enrolled agent before IRS, and a lot of you probably haven't heard of that, but we're actually been around quite a long time. I've been around since 1978, and we were actually started by President Abraham Lincoln back in the Civil War. But I haven't been around quite that long. But but I do enjoy radio, and but apart from that, I also like helping people who have tax issues, and also helping people to prepare the best tax return to get you the biggest refund or save you the most taxes that I possibly can. Everything we do is legal, of course. I'm licensed by the federal government, so I have to do everything by the book, but we'll do everything we can, like I said, to get you a good refund or reduce your taxes. And if you're unfortunate to have tax issues, I've been working with people for, now about 26 years. I've been working in the helping people that have tax issues. So,
and we know you have them. There's a lot of people out there that call you all the time, whether they're calling in the station, whether they're calling looking for you from here, whether they are calling me. Ted, I need Ted's help.
That's right. Unfortunately, since the great meltdown or the recession or whatever we call it, a lot of people have gotten into tax problems. So what I do is I work with the IRS, and I also work with the Arizona Department of Revenue, and I'm from California, so I do a lot of work with the Franchise Tax Board. But I work with all those taxing authorities to set up either a payment plan or get you in where you don't have to make a payment. Or you probably heard all the ads on the TV where they talk about pennies on the dollar. I do some of that too, although that's kind of overblown. But I do my best to get you the best settlement I can with the IRS.
Well, tell them about how much it costs for you to be to do the power of attorney.
Okay, so a lot of the tax resolution companies, we call them, they're mainly out of LA, Miami, and Denver. They'll charge you anywhere from a low of about $3,500 to, I've heard one outfit in LA charges an $18,000 retainer up front, regardless of your problem.
It's LA. They can.
They can, yeah. But anyway, I don't work like that. All I do is charge a $175 power of attorney fee. So I file the power of attorney with the IRS, and then that way I can find out what tax returns you need to file, if any, and then how much you owe in back taxes, and then we can set up a game plan to help you resolve your tax problems. But if you decide, that you don't like me, I'm a pretty easy guy to work with. But if you decide not to hire me or do it yourself, then $175 is your only financial obligation to me. We'll part friends and go on our ways. But I think, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've gotten helped several thousand people from this station alone, as well as other people I've worked with. So in most cases, I can get you a really good settlement that you can live with.
And you can help anyone in the United States.
That's right. We're licensed by the federal government, so I can help you in all 50 states, plus all those strange places like Guam, Puerto Rico, that we still own.
Now get ready for his giveaway, because I got to say it now. If I don't, I won't have time. He's been doing this since 1978. He has 2 Valley locations. One is in North Scottsdale. The other one is in North Phoenix. His website is tedwatkinsea.com. You can call him direct. He does free consultations. His phone number is 602-363-1952, or you can also call him at 480-707-7670. Now, here's his giveaways. First of all, he does a tax organizer, which is phenomenal. It's 15 pages long. Tell him a little bit about it.
Okay, if you go to my website, tedwatkinsea.com, on the home page, there's a little icon that says Tax Center. And like Carol said, it's a 15-page tax organizer, but it's kind of a one-size-fits-all, so you don't really need to be intimidated by it. It covers you if you own rental property, if you've sold stocks and bonds, if you have your own small business, or if you don't, and none of those apply to you. It also covers you if you work for someone else, to pick up all the legal tax deductions that you're entitled to. And there's still quite a few of them. A lot of people don't know of all the tax deductions, and TurboTax won't really help you with that. They're kind of a question-driven tax software program, but they miss a lot of stuff. So if you spend 10 or 15 minutes going over my tax organizer, I think you'll save a lot of taxes or get a bigger refund. And also, but if you don't want to spend the time, I do have a one-page what to bring with you for your tax interview that I have come up with, and that picks up most of the deductions that you're entitled to.
I think everybody should have it so that you can look and see. You don't have to get intimidated by it. You can see what works for you. And I always say, Ted has a very sharp pencil. He's the most meticulous person I've ever met in my life, and he will help you get the best refund you can. If you have been in a situation where you haven't done your taxes, and we know the longest one is what?
Since 1982.
1982. So we know you guys are out there and calling in here for help. And if anyone's listening to this, or if you know someone who's listening to this who has an issue, please tell them about it. You're going to get the free tax organizer. He also has a record retention guide. It's 4 pages long. He said the number one question that he gets asked is, what should I keep and how long should I keep it? So you got that. You also got a free consultation. He'll go back for you 3 years for free. He also is going to give you enter everybody into win a business or personal tax return for 2015 if you haven't done it, and 16 if you have. He also is going to give you a free Walmart card or a Starbucks card. Like I've said before, there's nothing he doesn't like to give away. And again, I'd like to make sure that everyone calls in. You can also call in throughout the United States because he can help anyone in the United States. Our number here, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Call in, get yourself entered into win, and get yourself some peace of mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, also, I will, if you're not an internet person, I will mail all of these items out to you, so you don't necessarily have to go onto my website. But I talked a little bit about last time I was on about extensions, and I wanted to go over that just briefly again, because there's still a lot of people that don't understand what an extension involves. So all of you know, I'm sure, that your tax returns due April 15th, 2000, or whatever year it is. But you but you do have the option of filing a 6-month extension, which gets you out to October 15th of whatever year we're in. But an extension is not an extension to pay, and a lot of people don't understand that. If you owe money, you have to pay by April 15th, or the government charges you late payment penalties as well as interest, and they're quite substantial. So what we do is I work with people starting about the last week in March and the first 2 weeks in April to figure out, if we're not going to be able to get your tax return done, then we're going to have to do a projection and find out how much you owe, because you're going to have to send that money in when you file your extension with the IRS or Arizona.
Well, when you say what year we're in, you mean for the people who have not done it since 86?
82.
82. So that's what you means by that, just for anyone that's listening. We're going to keep our lines opening. We're going to go to a break. I say people should call in here, get entered into win. You've had thousands of people. You've worked and helped with thousands of people from being on this show, and for people that also recommend you as well. Again, our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You could check him out on his website. It is tedwatkinsea.com. He does free consultations. You can call him at 602-363-1952 or 480-707-7670. We're giving away the tax organizer right here. Everybody should have it. The record retention guide, everybody should have it. He's going to give you a free personal or business personal tax return for 2015 or 16. Everyone's getting entered in to win that. That's a $400 value free to you. A Walmart card, a Starbucks card, a free consultation. Call here, 602-277-5369.
But trading all if I gave it all away for.
So welcome back. Our lines are open here, and we have everyone getting entered in to win a free business or personal tax return from Ted Watkins. He's an enrolled agent, been doing it since 1978, and he has helped thousands and thousands of people out there. He's my longest guest now, 7 years on the air with me. Now, I know we've heard him a lot, but there's most every single time you're on, you get a phone call one way or another, okay? So we have our lines open here. You're getting entered in to win the business or personal tax return. That's a $400 value at least free to you. He does free consultations with everyone. He goes back 3 years for you if you have issues. And if you don't, he doesn't charge any more money just because he's an enrolled agent. That's important for everybody to know. He's offering for everyone to get the free tax organizer, and we all know that we have to get our organized because our files are filled. Let's get it done early and get the tax organizer. He has the record retention guide that he's giving you. That's 4 pages long. He says the number one question he gets is, what should I keep and how long should I have it? And then also, of course, you're going to get the Walmart card or the Starbucks card. So our number here, 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for everything here. So you can check him out at tedwatkinsea.com, and don't forget all those people that are listening all over the world. He can help anyone in the United States. Go ahead.
Okay, well, like Carol said, my fees are quite reasonable. And just because I'm an enrolled agent doesn't mean that my fees are outrageous. In fact, most times they're about the same or even less than H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or Liberty Tax, and certainly in most cases less than most CPAs. But one of the reasons I also have the tax organizer is you do have to have your stuff fairly well organized for me to give you a reasonable fee. If you come in with a shoebox, and I have to sort through it, then your fees aren't going to, or be going to be a little bit higher, because particularly if you come in later in the tax season, when we're really pressed for time, I work strictly by summaries. So I look at the returns, make sure they look reasonable, but I'm not an auditor. I don't go through every receipt and add it up.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We all know that we have to get organized, and that's why that tax organizer is fabulous for everyone to have by their desk. So I believe that everyone should have it. Again, our number here, 602-277-5369. You had a story that you wanted to tell, and I want to hear it.
Okay. Well, actually, I've got a couple, but I think I've gone over them maybe once before. But they're still...
I love hearing them.
Yeah, they're still pretty good, I think. I had one gentleman who had listened to me for 4 years, and he had never called in. And he finally called in after 4 years, and he had an issue with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Now, if you don't know Wisconsin, they're one of the toughest tax states in the country. They're in the same league with California, New York, and Pennsylvania, and a few others. So, but anyway, we're working on an offer and compromise for him so that he can get rid of his or get rid of most of his tax liability and get back on track. But unfortunately, I picked him up kind of late in the process, and Wisconsin had already done one levy on his bank account. So I guess the lesson to that is call me earlier. Don't
listen for 4 years and then say, well, it might be time.
And he had a number of certified letters from the state of Wisconsin, so he had kind of blown them off a little bit too. But when I was able to get in there, I can get what they call a collection hold, which means that they'll stop issuing levies against your bank account or your salary and wages and so forth. But if you'd have called me earlier, I could have jumped in and probably saved him from getting his bank account levied.
Now, I know we've got some callers coming in right now, and if it's busy, because I know they're trying to take the numbers, so because we want to make sure, call back, and we can let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. Everyone's getting entered in to win a business or personal tax return for 2015, if you haven't done it, or 2016, if you have. You're also going to get a free Walmart card or a Starbucks card, the free tax organizer, which is phenomenal, the record retention guide. He does free consultations with everyone. He has 2 Valley locations. One is in North Scottsdale and North Phoenix. He's been doing it since 1978, has helped thousands and thousands of people. You can check him out on his website. It's tedwatkinsea.com, and keep on calling here at 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So, okay, what else should we talk about?
Well, I guess we could talk about my guy from 1982.
Oh, let's talk about him.
Yeah, this gentleman hadn't filed since 1982, and he came in to me. He listened to the show for about 2 years before he came in, and I kid you not, he had a stack of unopened certified letters, literally a foot tall. He hadn't opened any of them. Now.
And you charge per opening letter? No, I'm only kidding. Go ahead.
No, I should have. But anyway, the only thing that really saved him is he worked off the books. Otherwise, I can guarantee you that IRS would have levied his bank account, and they can go after your IRA, Social Security, and so forth. But his saving grace was that he worked off the books and didn't have a bank account. But again, all those penalties have gone on. And if you don't file a tax return, then also the IRS has 10 years to collect any unpaid taxes. But if you don't file a tax return, the statute of limitations, the 10-year period, never starts. So fortunately for him, they're only going to go back 6 years. He didn't make a heck of a lot of money during those, 34 years. So they're only going to go back and make him file 6 years. So hopefully he won't owe a heck of a lot of money. But if he'd owed, or if he'd earned a substantial amounts of money, they could have made him go all the way back to 1982. Now, I have software back to 1990, but I would have had to done a paper return for 1982 through 89. And when I first started in this business, I did paper returns, so I guess I could do them, but it'd be very difficult having to use software, for it's a long time.
I want to talk about a lot of people out there. They have these in-home based businesses, the multi-marketing businesses, and they think that they can be audited. I have seen it happen before by some people. So I want people to hear a little bit about that too.
Okay, so what Carol's referring to is the business use of the home, and she's right. If they do audit you for the business use of the home, they will actually come to your home and want to see your business or your office in the home. So what you have to do is to have it completely segregated. So if you got to take a bedroom and make sure there's no PlayStations, or really shouldn't even have a TV in there. You need a desk, a computer, printer, et cetera, to make it look like a real office and a real business. Now the IRS does allow you, though, you can take a percentage of your mortgage interest, your taxes, as well as items like your HOA fees, your repairs and maintenance, your landscaping, insurance, and so forth, which you don't ordinarily get to take if you just file a regular tax return. So it is a good deduction, but it has to be done right, and it does increase your risk of audit a little bit too. So you have to make sure it's set up properly, and where it's a real business, and I would keep all your games and so forth out of there.
But more than anything, you have to keep records, and when people start these businesses, they don't necessarily keep records, and that's what we want to talk about too, especially with that record retention guide, what they need for all of that too, and everyone.
That's right. Well, what I tell my clients is to get a banker's box and just throw the receipt in there, and then you should summarize it, of course, from time to time. But if you have a banker's box and you put all your receipts in there, then you're sure not to lose them. And so you can go, once or twice a year, end of the year, or however often you summarize your expenses, then it makes it a lot easier. And if you throw the receipts away, because if you get audited, the IRS wants to see receipts as well as like credit card statements and bank statements, because I've been on several audits where they'll disallow charges on a credit card, a statement, but if you have the receipt to back it up, and a lot of times they'll give you some or all the deduction. So that's why it's really critical when you're in business. You have to keep receipts, and you have to generally keep them for 3 years, or well, 4 years actually, because Arizona goes back 4 years.
So what are some of your final words for today so I can get our giveaway out?
Okay, well, I guess the main thing is don't hide your head in the sand. Be proactive, because if you come forward and I can contact the IRS and get, like I said, talked about earlier, a collection hold so they don't go after your bank accounts. If you do that, then we can work with them and come up with an agreement. But the worst thing IRS hates is being ignored or blown off. I mean, then they start coming down on you.
And you don't work for the IRS.
No, that's right. That's another thing. I'm not an employee of IRS. I'm a self-employed business person, and I work for you, the taxpayer, not the IRS.
And he's on your side, and he wants to help you guys out there. And it doesn't matter if you have done your taxes, have an enrolled agent do your taxes. There's nothing like it. Again, he has got 2 Valley locations. One is in North Phoenix. The other one is in North Scottsdale. His website is tedwatkinsea.com. He does free consultations for everyone. His number is 602-363-1952 or 480-707-7670. He's been doing it since 1978. He can help anyone in the United States. He also is going to give you a free consultation, a free Walmart card or a Starbucks card. Everyone's getting entered in to win the personal business tax return for 2015, tax organizer, tax retention guide, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100.